Okay, so here is the first set of kit parts that I'm going to be painting first, just to get it out of the way, which will be pretty much the gray parts, the charcoal gray parts. I assembled them, I put them on the alligator clips, and I started spray painting them with the primer paint, just the surfacer, as you can see right there. And certain parts that I'm looking at, which I really have to work with now, is parts like this, like the head, this is the mono eye of the Sazabi. Let me just move it a bit so that way it's movable like that. There you go. So I had to sand it down a bit just around the eye because it even though this comes with stickers to put on the eyeball, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to paint it. I have neon green somewhere around here, so that one I'm going to spray paint on this. Not spray paint, airbrush. Some of these parts had to be assembled, of course. Not assembled. It's like here, the bottom part of the leg, which I think I don't know if I mentioned that this one has to be all painted gray first, and then I'm going to paint the inside orange. I mean yellow, excuse me, to coincide with all the thrusters. That's yellow as well. Here's the upper body, torso is also assembled right there. The gun is assembled, and pretty much everything else is okay. The one thing that I think I didn't want to put together and paint was these parts, which represent the actual holding of the funnels. I said, nah, we'll leave it the way it is, and then I'll just put them together just as they dry. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with me painting these kits on my spray booth, so we'll do a before and after. Here are the parts before painting, and here are all the parts painted gunship gray. So, as you can see, I let this thing dry. Color tone is pretty good, not too bad. Here's the bottom part of the leg, which later on I'm going to mask the sides around here and here and there, just only to expose the inside. Now here's the thing which I may or may not do. Even though I'm going to be spray painting yellow, I don't know how well the spray paint will look and hit on these parts, especially since it's going to be small little holes. I'm not too 100% sure. So that's something that I may or may not consider on doing. Here's a portion of the head, and as you can see, it turns pretty well. And then I'm going to, this one I can actually take out, wrap everything around it except for the mono eye, and then I'm going to spray paint that neon, which I do have neon green somewhere. I gotta find it. I haven't fooled around with neon in a long time. The same thing in reference to neon, I'm gonna have to also, once I finish painting this guy red, I'm gonna have to mask the inside, you know, around here, here, and here, you know, just only to expose the inside, and then spray paint that one neon as well. So that's the neon I won't do now, that I can do later on, as long as I can get certain parts done beforehand. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. Alright, so these things are dried. I'm going to start preparing them. Little tanks here. Also, these will be painted white around the edges. This one, the body. So, let's now move on to the red parts. After carefully reviewing and putting all these parts together, at first I was originally just going to do priming. And then from priming, I'm going to do paint it, you know, the metallic red. But I've been thinking of doing this for quite some time, and I think I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to do is, after I finish priming these parts, And you're gonna have to forgive me, I thought I had it out here a minute ago. After I finish priming all these parts, I am going to repaint it again, the gloss black, to give it a black coat over it. Part of it is because I want to not only paint from the outside, but I also want to paint on the inside. There's a lot of detailed references where I guess the armor, the inside of the kit, has some underlying shading. Shading is probably something else that I wanted to try. Don't know how I'm gonna swing it with this kit, but I'm gonna give it a shot in either case. Other things that I was reviewing, and I'm gonna have to show you the manual, is like over here you see that there is a blackness here, and I guess somebody painted it inside. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the inside black after it's primed, then get a little tape, cover that up, that space area, and then repaint it in all the red, and then peel it out. I'm also want to paint the inside of specific parts, mainly in hang on a second, like for example this one here. This is one of the side armor of the shoulder, and you have this part, which of course you have to paint it black so it has a detail look to it. Then I'm going to probably put tape and cover it up like so. I don't know if I'm sorry if I should show you. So paint it on the inside like that, and then cover it up, and then paint it all red, and then paint the little nozzles here yellow, so it has that effect, kind of like what you see here. I see that for this part, and there's also one for this as well. This one is going to be a lot of work, because not only have to paint this black inside and then this yellow. I didn't realize that there's more detail onto this than from previous kits, from other SD kits. For example, you have the nozzles here and here and here, which is black on the sides and yellow on the inside. So that's easy to do with the regular painting, but here this entire section is all black. So I'm gonna have to, like, once I spray the thing whole black, get tape, cover that up, and then paint it all in the red color, then peel it out, and I'm fine. So the last thing I wanted to show you was this, of course, the head. I've decided to put the completed inner part of the head and mask it all around, so that way it doesn't get painted on. So it does need to be primed because there's a lot of weird swishies and things like that. And I sanded a few parts in there. There's not a lot of sanding, of course, but there's those little nubby things that just get in the way, and it'll show during the process. Okay, so like I did before, here's what the kit parts look like before priming, and here are the parts already primed. I'm waiting for it to continue drying, so that way I can then move on to the next portion. But the one thing about priming, for those of you who don't know, is it'll cover up any scar marks or scratches that you've applied on. Even after sanding, a good primer is good to cover up color. Now, even though we're going to use the same color, I want to give it this dark priming to give it a little base on the kit. But right now everything's fine. I just started also priming some of the yellow parts to get that out of the way. Alright, so everything looks normal. I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit more, and then I'm going to move on to the next part. So here it is before painting. Well, here I was going to say, here it is after painting all the parts gloss black. But unfortunately I didn't do that. Instead, I did a little pre-shading, but only on specific areas where it needs it. Some of the parts that I mentioned before, like this here and under this, where I decided to spray paint a lot more so it shows that, I decided to do that so we can cover that up. That's fine. But then I did like the line, the outline of the panel lining, and I did like these pre-shadings that I did here on this part here, this one, and here's the head, of course, done. Come out pretty nice. The shield had some nice pre-shadings done. I don't know what got me into doing this now, but it started when I was watching, there was a video that I saw on YouTube. Let me pull it up. It's from a guy named Sal M.Y. S-A-L-L space M space Y. He did a build of a 1/2400 scale Zanzibar class mobile cruiser. Search him out. Actually, I'll put a link on this page, on this video, so you guys can see it. But I saw this video, and he did a nice, very nice build of that model kit. It's a small model kit, but it had he did put out a lot of detail and stuff. And he did a little pre-shading, and then I said to myself, you know what? I could pretty much do that with this kit, since there's a lot of panel lining on this, a lot of, like this here, and some parts around here. So I said, you know what? Let me try this. Let me try this on these Sazabi. Like here's another example. Give me a second. Here, like I did a little shading right there. It pretty much covered the entire part, but only in specific areas. And of course, with the Alacad 2 paint gloss, it's a lot of the paint is very, very thin to the point where I don't need to thin it. So I had to be extra careful and try to control the amount of spray I can do, while try to get as much, panel lining as possible, or pre-shading as possible. So like this one right here. So yeah, I decided to do that and see how that come out. Oh yeah, I forgot inside the shield I decided to paint the inside of that, so I may have to start getting masking tape, start to mask all these parts up, and then spray paint it with metallic red. So let's try this one more time. This is all the parts before painting metallic red.